The following program is made possible with the support of Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. With 5 locations in the Wilmington area, Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients. Always had them, always will. Wilmington International Airport. Committed to a relaxed, enjoyable flying experience. Now offering daily nonstop flights to Charlotte, New York, and Philadelphia with American Airlines, and Atlanta with Delta. Details at flyilm.com. Ruby Tuesday at Monkey Junction, featuring uncompromising freshness and quality and gracious hospitality. Ruby Tuesday at Monkey Junction, the perfect place for your next casual dining experience. And PortCityDaily.com. You can do without the paper, but you can't do without the news. PortCityDaily.com is your online local news source for Wilmington and the surrounding Cape Fear region.
Hey, high school football fans, welcome back to a fresh edition of Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school football across New Hanover County. Tonight we'll catch up with all 4 of the New Hanover County high school football coaches. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com, where you can find all of your local news and sports information online free at PortCityDaily.com. We got back to some type of normalcy last week on the high school football schedule. It was played on Friday night. We had a handful of games across the region, including a matchup between Laney and Hoggard. The New Hanover Wildcats picked up a 49-14 win over West Brunswick, and the Ashley Screaming Eagles shut out South Brunswick in Boiling Springs Lake 40-0. We'll catch up with Coach Earl Smith here in just a second. A quick recap from the Wildcats' victory. Burke Estes went 11 of 15 for 252 yards, 4 touchdown passes in the win. 6 different players actually found the end zone for the Wildcats in that 49-14 victory. Garrett Walston, University of North Carolina commit, had 2 touchdown grabs. Carl Scott, Shamon Granger also with touchdown receptions in the victory for New Hanover. Coach Earl Smith with us here on stage this evening, and Coach, really firing on all cylinders as of late. Picked up your 5th straight win back on Friday.
Yeah, we've been hoping for this a long time. Get to complete 4 quarters, and that's what we got. And the great thing is, in the 3rd quarter, we're able to start subbing and getting some players in that have not had the opportunity to play all year. And it was just a good, solid night. Homecoming, had a great crowd, and just got out of it healthy. So we were excited.
Well, as we take a look at some of the highlights, there were a ton of them, especially in the first half. As I mentioned, Garrett Walston with 4 touchdown passes in the ball game.
Josiah Eason, senior, had a great night. He had 7 extra points, kicks, had numerous kickoffs in the end zone. Such a great weapon for us. Again, our defense pretty much shut them out. That's Nigel Hines there, sophomore. Get a block punt here. Gives our offense the first series good field position. Come back here with a nice strike from Burke to Garrett. Single coverage here. And he was getting double covered a lot all night, and that opened up, like I said, for other people, which was great.
He made a grab later in the game, too, a one-handed catch for the touchdown.
That should be on the
hopefully we see
end,
this one.
Yeah. There's a reverse to Trey Age. Good blocks up front by O-line. That was Andrew Rouse with a kick-out block there.
Trey Age, a guy that has carried the workload a lot. 68 yards rushing on 3 carries the other night.
Yes. And here's Traquan, and puts it in the end zone for our 2nd score. Our defense is, each week getting a little better. So those young guys are no longer, rookies anymore. They're sophomores, and it's really showing. A good pass rush there by Isaiah Crawford, our right defensive end.
It seems like each week another guy on your defense is stepping up and making a play.
Absolutely, and we're still doing a really good job of gang tackling. Here's a great throw here to Carl, our senior, Carl Scott. our third scorer.
A good job by Burke there to buy some time and
Yeah.
find his receiver downfield.
Yep. Nas Brown here with a great stop. They were running a kind of mixing their offenses up, wishbone and spread. He's just become even though he's a sophomore, he's becoming a great leader for us on the field. One of the toughest young men I've ever coached. Great job there again by Isaiah, senior defensive end. Here's a touchdown. Pump fake, little jet go to Shamon Granger, another senior. I guess this was his first touchdown of the year. Really good for him. We've got quite a few guys that can, be playmakers for us. Here, Josh Blackman, great stop. Get a hold on them, which backs them up even further. Here again, Josh, real alert, scoops it up, gets his first TD of his career. He was excited.
So you're putting points on the defensive end too.
Yep, absolutely. These guys are playing with a lot of passion and enthusiasm. That's what we want. Good pass rush there. Got broke down a little bit right there on our contain, but here comes Josh again with another tackle solo for a loss.
That's Jemias Williams again, coming through at the defensive tackle position for you, getting pressure on the QB.
Pressure. Here's a nice pick by senior Ronnie Beatty. Good. See how close they were to maybe getting some points there to keep them out of the end zone. Ronnie's been a great leader for us this year. And I believe this is the catch that we were talking about. It's probably one of the best catches I've seen in high school football. Yep.
And that was
Heck of
a
an
little
effort.
Odell
Heck of an
Beckham Jr. right there.
Yeah.
Big Garrett Walston getting up, all around a lot of highlights as we kind of preface the conversation with. And it's good to see guys like Carl Scott, Shamon Granger getting involved in the offense and scoring touchdowns downfield for you.
Yes, it's nice to be balanced too, I tell you. Goes a long way.
Yeah, well, you're still in the driver's seat now atop the Mid-Eastern Conference, obviously heading down the stretch, starting to feel a lot like football weather out there. Temperatures dropping, obviously around kickoff, a cool night back on Friday. How does the game plan work now going forward and keeping the guys focused after getting through a couple of the big wins for you?
Well, the other thing is that this will be the first time we practice on Monday in 4 weeks, so we're excited about getting back to a normal practice schedule. So I think that'll help us having the 2 days off. Even though we did play 2 games last week, and like I said, we were healthy earlier, and we got to, always the game with Ashley's going to be tough. Got to go down there, and coach has done a great job down there. They're probably the most improved team in our league, I think, over the year.
Yeah, well, it's setting up to be a good battle Friday night out in Monkey Junction as the New Hanover Wildcats will travel out to Ashley. Coach Earl Smith has the Wildcats playing at a real high level right now. 5 straight wins atop the Mid-Eastern Conference, looking to stay in first place heading into Friday night. We'll take a quick break here on Sports Roundtable, and we'll catch up with Laney head coach Ashad Yeoman right after this. Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school football across New Hanover County. I want to give a big thanks to New Hanover head coach Earl Smith for stopping by earlier in the show. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com as we head through another full week of high school football, gearing up for Friday night. The Laney Bucks this past Friday went out to Scott Braswell Stadium in a 17-10 game at the half, but the Vikes kind of ran away with it in the third quarter, scoring 21 points in that third frame as the Vikings picked up a 45-28 win over Laney. The Bucks, joining us now is Laney head coach Ashad Yeoman. And Coach, in that ball game at the half, I thought you were doing some things that were, successful at times. That third quarter really was the difference maker in that ball game.
Oh, for sure. At the beginning of the game, they did a great job of opening up and scoring that initial touchdown. They did some great things in the off week that kind of caught us by surprise. We had to make some adjustments on the sideline, and things started to settle in just a little bit. Like you said, we ended up scoring that touchdown a little bit late, kind of bringing some momentum in our direction. And then in the third quarter, I think that first drive that we had, they had a tackle for loss. We ended up fumbling the ball, and then ended up punting it away twice. they ended up scoring, if I'm not mistaken, twice in the opening drives, and that kind of took the wind out of ourselves. But in the fourth quarter, we started fighting again and getting some things going. We just gotta shore up a lot of these penalties, because what's happening is we're starting in negative position and on quite a few of our drive offensively, and just gotta work on staying on the football field and keeping our defense rested.
One thing I did see in that first half with that 10-0 deficit you were facing, Trayvon Green, your quarterback, obviously dealing with some injuries right now, and he came up. He was able to, scamper out of the pocket and make a big play for you, and ended up finding a wide receiver wide open downfield. But I think it all started with Trayvon and his ability to kind of extend the play outside the pocket and then make a good throw downfield.
Yeah, he ended up finding Alex Den, one of our seniors, in the end zone on that play. They kind of got lost in the shuffle defensively. He did a great job of that all night long, actually, of trying to extend the play a little bit. And he had some guys that were open. We had some drop passes that could have went for a little bit bigger gains and kept us on the field. So, hats off to him, because he, like you said, he struggled a little bit at the beginning of the week for being nicked up a little bit. But, he came back and fought and gave us what we needed to be successful.
Well, we'll take a look at some of the highlights. Jemias Beckett had two big touchdown runs for you in that fourth quarter. As we start off on defense, Laney and White here this evening.
Yeah, great job by Trayvon McGee, one of my junior defensive ends. He did a great job of coming off that edge and getting that guy stopped or slowed down, and then the guys checking in and getting him stopped. So that was awesome defensively in the beginning. We had struggled lining up because they did some, they did some things in the off week that kind of caught us by surprise. And hats off to them and the execution that they brought to the football game at the very, very beginning and towards the end of the ball game as well. So got them down in the red zone there. Guys still fighting, trying to keep them out of the end zone. The game was still close at this point. We ended up holding them to a field goal, actually, on this drive here. They ended up scoring on the initial. Again, there's a little trickeration there that they had thrown in there. That's one of my seniors. He had been out for quite some time, and we brought him back, and he had an excellent game. He kind of filled in the role real nicely. This is Cayman Czak here. We knew, with their jet sweep, that those guys were going to be coming off the edge and cracking down on the outside. So we made sure to kind of protect him a little bit to try to step him up on the edge, and he did a great job executing the game plan there. Their speed option, the way they blocked that thing up, it's very, very schemed up really well, and we did a great job of executing, trying to slow that play down. We knew going into it, because in the past they've always been successful with that speed option, and we had to change up a few things to try and make sure it didn't hit for too much. And then again, just like we talked about earlier with Trayvon, making some things happening with his legs. Den got lost in the shuffle. That's one of my seniors there, wide open in the end zone. He had done that all game long, and one time he did throw the ball down the field where he crossed the line of scrimmage. That could have been for a big play. And there's my silent assassin there, Ryan Dabrowski, another junior defensive end. He's been doing excellent all season long and been a workhorse on that end for us. This is towards the end of the game where we put Jemias Beckett in, trying to get him some carries. And he's been doing this all season long, man, in the late halves, trying to, spark something for us. And he did it earlier in the week on Monday against New Hanover. And there he is again on the very next drive. We decided to, kind of go into a little bit of smash mouth football, and he did a great job of getting down the field and taking it to the house.
So 2 touchdown runs by Jemias Beckett for you, a nice touchdown pass by Trayvon Green. I think defensively, 2 guys that you mentioned, Ryan Dabrowski and Cayman Czak,
Yes,
2 guys that I think we've called their numbers a bunch of times throughout this season, and still a year or 2 to go in high school football. So these are 2 guys that you're going to be counting on as the season obviously progresses, heading into next year on the defensive end of the ball, that have really done some big things for you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We got, for the most part, if I'm not mistaken, that whole defense should be back next year, knock on wood. Hopefully through attrition and injuries and stuff like that, you don't want that to happen. But, defensively, we got a lot of guys that are getting some playing time now that, should be helping us out big time next season. And then offensively, we just got to make sure that, we staying on the football field, trying to be penalty free. And that's on me. I've got to get those guys better prepared for the game and make sure that we're executing.
Well, you've kind of went through the gauntlet playing New Hanover and Hoggard in the same week. With that said, the Laney Bucks will take a much-deserved bye heading into Friday. So you have the off week on Friday, and we'll catch up with a couple of your players on next week's edition of Sports Roundtable.
Yes, sir. Look forward to it.
That's Laney second-year coach Ashad Yeoman here on Sports Roundtable. I'm Joe Katz. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hey, high school football fans, welcome back to Sports Roundtable, taking a look at high school football across New Hanover County. I'm Joe Catanacci from PortCityDaily.com. Joining us right now is Coach Craig Underwood of the Hoggard Vikings. Vikes had about a week and a half off and finally got back on the field at Scott Braswell Stadium on Friday night, pick up a big 45-28 win, Coach. And you started a new quarterback for the first time. Josh Jones, your sophomore, was under center for the first time, and I thought he produced in a big way for you last week.
He did. Yeah, he had a great night. Brian Sasser was battling a little bit of injury coming off the previous week, and it opened the door for Josh to get in there and really stepped up big for us. Threw the ball well, had a couple runs in there too. So.
Completed his first 8 passes of the game, and I gotta before we get to the highlights, I gotta say, does Rashad Wallace ever get on you about not scoring any touchdowns? He did get 2 the other day, but Tony Allen seems to be the short yardage guy for you. Rashad takes you all the way down the field, and Tony punches it in.
Yeah, we try to get a balance with those two, but it's just the way it works out sometimes. They both do a great job.
And they're both have combined for over about 1,200 yards rushing this season for you. So Tony Allen, Rashad Wallace, keep those names in the back of your head. They're only juniors, and they'll be in the backfield again next year for the Vikings as well. Coach, going to the highlights from Friday night, obviously in the 45-28 win, had some big things to to talk about right now.
Right. Oh yeah. And here we are. Driving in the first quarter. You can see Josh just took that ball a little better, but he getting downhill and again he gives us a little quarterback run element that has been really beneficial to us the last three games. Here you see Tony. Tony's just got a great little feel inside. He's an undersized running back, but he's got a good feel for finding a crease and hitting it. Over to the defensive side of the ball, we played really well through 3 quarters. There's Will Candare coming through, just a great read, downhill player. He gets better every week. I'd say he's become quite the leader of our defense at middle linebacker. Back on the offensive end, a little toss. Here's Rashad. Separating, breaking some tackles. That's something he's really focused on improving on and getting the burst all the way to the end zone. So very proud of Rashad and the offensive line setting a great flank for him there too. Back on the defensive side of the ball here, a little inside run. You see Will stepping up, but Omar Jones, who was here on set last week, coming through and punching one out for us there. It's a big turnover. We have done a good job. Been very proud of our guys this year in the turnover battle. I think that's one of the biggest stats in football. And our kids are not putting the ball on the ground, and we are forcing turnovers. So got to keep that going. Josh on the sprint out here connects with Colin Hare. Just a great catch to control that ball and get his feet in. Colin's an excellent worker. He's just one of those kids. Work ethic has earned his way into being a big part of our offense. Here we go with the forced Delaney punt. Getting a good rush here and forcing, not gaining a block, but this would have been, if we had blocked it, that would have been our 5th consecutive game with a blocked punt. But them fumbling the snap, I'll take that too. So attribute that to just good pressure from our guys. Tony Allen again punching it in there. The offensive line doing a great push. I got to give Coach Dylan Demick a little shout out. He does a great job with our offense. Here he got a pre-snap read that we knew the post, or had a good feeling the post would be there, and Evan Allegray going and getting just a great ball. Caleb Kuhn again, one of our leading scorers this year. He's been quite the weapon for us. So setting up.
And it's a little chip shot for Caleb.
That's right. Yeah, we try to make it a little easier on him this week. He's been 47 has been the number this year. We have had 47-yard field goals in every game, I think. Tony on a little swing screen, showing him outside, getting into space as well. He's between the tackles a lot, but again, he's got a good burst, really good burst. So got to continue. He got to have a big year in the weight room, and again, both those guys are juniors. So a little 3-by-1 set and hitting Tristan Candare on a little shuffle pass underneath here. Again, Coach Demick doing a good job, just keeping the offense multiple. Trying to generate some big yardage plays. We're not the fastest team out there, so he does a good job of creating an offense that can still carve those chunks up.
Allegret there on a great sideline pass too, right
Yeah,
there.
Evan, that was a big conversion. And then here, hitting Colin right up the seam. Josh finding, throwing that ball on a rope there, didn't put any air under it. That was a key coaching point. So again, here getting our heavy package down the goal line and just saying, we're not hiding what we're doing here, and the offensive line getting the push to get the ball in there.
Yeah, getting a good push at that line of scrimmage from the offensive line. Tony Allen, again, 3 touchdowns. Rashad Wallace with a pair of TDs, finds the end zone for you. Coach, you really look sharp out of the bye week, and sometimes, when you go through a season and you come off a bye and a week and a half off, you think maybe, there's a little rust out there, but there was no rust for you on Friday night. You're really sharp in all phases of the game.
I'll tell you, the first and third quarter, I thought, were probably the best 2 quarters of total football we've played all year. Especially just the way we came out of the locker room. It was homecoming week, and there's a lot that goes on with that. It's a longer halftime. Our kids came out and got the stop right away, and then drove right down and scored. It was just a great effort.
Yeah, really a 17-10 game turned into a kind of a blowout there with 21 points in that third quarter for you. Really stretched out the lead for the Hoggard Vikings. Coach, as you kind of get ready for another week of football here coming up on Friday, what's the message to the guys as you gear up for another football game coming up later this week?
Well, I think this week we're getting back on the road, so it's handling things, coming off a great win. Those county rivalries, those are emotional games, so a great win for our program, but now staying steady. We talked last week a lot about accountability and keeping that accountability, getting ready for a tough road trip up to West Brunswick. They got a lot of speed on that team. So.
Yeah, and a nice little bus ride down to Charlotte and back. So it's always weary when you get a bunch of teenage kids on a bus for an hour and a half or so, and then a tough place to play down in Charlotte.
Yeah, just to test our team's maturity, and I think that's the challenge to them this week is handle that.
The Hoggard Vikings back in the win column last week in a 45-28 victory over Laney. He's Hoggard coach Craig Underwood. Coach, always good catching up with you. We'll see you next time.
You as well.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll wrap up the Sports Roundtable right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Roundtable as we continue our conversation with the 4 coaches from New Hanover County this evening. I'm Joe Catanacci from PortCityDaily.com, as Coach Jeff Turner likes to call me, Catanacci, not just cats, Catanacci. The Ashley Screaming Eagles, Coach, 40-0 over South Brunswick, back-to-back wins for the first time since I think it was 2013. You've got the guys playing at a pretty high level right now, and things kind of coming into fruition for you as you head down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, they came in, and did what they had to do. We've talked about it, and you just never know going on the road with a young team, and learning how to get ready for games and just take care of business. So I was proud of the kids that they came out and they did their job and did what was expected of them. So it was a good one for the guys.
You took advantage of some early turnovers. Jacob Lloyd had a pair of pick sixes for you. You went back to the ground game again. Bradley Plyer, 65-yard touchdown run. He scored twice. Caleb Parker, Jacob Reed got in the end zone for you. So kind of a full-rounded game for you. Obviously, a score of 40-0. Lopsided nonetheless, but just an all-around effort for you.
Yeah, it was a great effort. It's a great feeling for those kids. And as we talked about it at halftime, and let's finish now and not be done. And we're still learning that, and they are. So I was proud of them again, how they came out in the third quarter and fourth quarter and did finish the game the right way.
As we take a look at some of the highlights, catching up with Coach Jeff Turner of the Ashley Screaming Eagles right now. And Ashley, the white team here on the video screen, just a big day defensively for you.
Yeah, they're just really having fun together, playing. They're starting to get after it. We didn't have 2 of our starters on defense, but it gave other guys a chance to come in and play a role in that. First, I think it's second play of the offensive game. Bradley Plyler hits it, little change in play right here, and sees something. And I'll tell you, once he gets through that hole, he's got some speed. He runs track also, and he's got breakaway speed. So did a good job of finding that daylight and getting through and getting the touchdown.
A little crease there and took it right to the house untouched.
Yeah, and defensively, again, just getting after it, getting to the ball, holding the line of scrimmage. Guys are playing good, and right here, Deuce, Jacob Reed sees the ball and takes it in the end zone for a pick 6. Big play. Right here. Okay, good play there. Again, we had 2 starters out on defense, and it gives guys a chance to come in again. And a little fumble here, stripped by Sauce Turner. He's done a great job stripping the ball, another turnover. Didn't like to see the completion, but it was a good strip. Right here, DC, Delmas Russ just comes in. He's a tough guy to block. And then here's another pick by Jacob Reed, again, another pick six, sort of in the right place at the right time. You know, we're just getting after it, putting pressure. You know, that D-line's done a great job. Coach Green's done a great job with them. And another big sack right here, pin him back at the 1 yard line. Playing on that sandy field there. And the kids just kept playing, you know, it was just great for the kids. Another Bradley Plyler finds that opening, tries to stretch it in, get down on the goal line, and here he goes again. Sort of powers his way in there. O-line's really working. O-line's starting to get better. They're very young up front. So, you know, right here, good play. I think it's a 3rd and short. Sort of, actually it's first down. But guys just played. It was great to see him get after it. And Caleb Parker just QB sneak into the end zone. It was good to see the offensive line start to play with some confidence and coming through with it. It was a great win for the Eagles. Great win for the Eagles. And right here, that was the last play. We were on the 1 foot line, and that was our, you know, had sort of got a chance to get our whole team in there, and he took a knee on the 1 foot line. And so I was proud of the offense to bring it down and go ahead and run out the clock.
Yeah, it must be nice to sit there and call the victory formation for you with a lopsided win against South.
Yeah, you know, it does feel good. And you know, as much as it was a great win, my mind is is into next week already and Friday night. But you know, it's great for the program. It's great for the kids, and it's sort of the process that has to take place as it is, and we're sort of moving forward with that.
Well, if, an overall picture of the Ashley Screaming Eagles, I don't think your record does you justice. You've been in a number of those games that were in the L column this year. With that said, I think watching all these highlights throughout the course of the season, if you can, you know, give your MVP to one unit so far, I think it would have to be that defensive line. I mean, they've really kept you in games over the course of months now, and now finally the offense seems to be catching up with what the defense has been doing.
Well, yeah, I do. I think the defense as a whole has done great. Defensive line has sort of done a great job, and then everyone else just getting after it too. And that's a lot of times that's the case. Even with championship teams, that you win with great defense and good offense also, but not beating yourselves. And we're still very young and still learning on both sides of the ball. And we have a real tough one Friday night, but really looking forward to it.
Well, right now the Ashley Screaming Eagles are 2-1 in the Mid-Eastern Conference and looking to make it 3 straight wins come Friday night as they host the New Hanover Wildcats. Ashley coach Jeff Turner. Coach Turner, it's always good catching up with you here on set, and we look forward to watching you on Friday night.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, that will do it for this edition of Sports Roundtable. We appreciate all the coaches from across New Hanover County joining us. Join us next time for another look at high school football across New Hanover County here on Sports Roundtable.